All right, happy Saturday. This is Steve saying hello from sunny Palm Coast, Florida. I hope you're having a great Saturday today. This is something I promised my brother to put together, so shout out to him. I'm going to walk you through, not in complete detail, because this could be a very long lesson, and I will work on various videos that talk through everything in more detail and actually kind of a more beginner approach to what I'm doing. But what this is my practice routine that I've really been doing while I haven't played since, seriously, meaning running scales and doing all those things, since about the winter of 93 into 94. Really over the last about 9 months, I've developed a more structured. I added triads in, and so this routine I've been doing definitely for the last 6 to 9 months. I added one other element to it within the last 3 to 4 weeks, and that is playing with the metronome. And so I will say, very important as somebody who has played mainly by themselves, never, other than a couple stints, like I'm talking weeks or maybe a month, where I actually played in a band where we were preparing for one show of original music. I've never really played with the band. And so you're playing by yourself, often you can ebb and flow more naturally on your timing. But it's really important, especially if you want to grow in music and play with other musicians, that you learn to be on time, stay on the beat. And so doing all of this with the metronome, that also helps you if you ever want to lay down tracks or go into a studio, a professional studio, and lay down tracks. They're going to have you playing with a click track. And so the ability to get used to playing on time, staying on the beat, is really, really important. So that being said, the concept here is we're going to go through the major scale, the minor pentatonic scale. We're going to play seventh chords, so major seventh, dominant seventh, minor seventh, add 5, I believe it is, and then diminished seventh. We'll do our arpeggios of the seventh, so that you're fingering the individual notes of the seventh across the fretboard, and then playing the major and minor triads up the neck, down the neck, and also up the strings, or down, up the strings as well. So trying to hit all of that. I'm going to have a metronome playing. My metronome's actually, the one I use is actually on my phone, so I have a web browser up here that I'll use. I'll go slower because it is important to try to stay on beat. I do try to push myself in, and so going faster and faster. I'm probably doing a little too much of that. I probably need to really slow down. And I will say, you're going to feel yourself off the rhythm. Either try to fix that in flow. That's really the best thing. If you can hear it and adjust yourself. If you need to, just stop and count. Wait for the beat. I would go on 1. The nice thing about the metronome that my phone has is it actually has an accent on a beat, so I can put the accent on the 1. So I always know where I am in relationship to, is this is this beat 3 or beat 2, or no, I know where beat 1 is because I hear that accent and I always know where 1 is. So that's actually really helpful. I know with this browser, it's just really the Google, if you Google metronome, is just that browser that comes up that's built into Google. It actually can't go as fast as I practice the major and minor scales, but that's fine. It'll be good for this video. The other thing I'll say is I do this always in C. Hear me out here. C major, keeping in mind that with C, I use the relative minor, okay? And if you don't know, the relative minor is the 6th of the scale that you're in. So if we're in C, the 6th is A, which means I'm going to run my scales in C major and A minor pentatonic. And therefore, I'm always staying with those same notes. And if you don't know, C has no sharps and flats, and that makes it helpful. Again, trying to understand where I am all the time on the fretboard and staying in the whole notes makes it a little bit easier. Everything I'm learning is transferable on the guitar, so I can play in any key. But it is helpful for me to just get a great understanding. When you're starting out, I am trying, let me back up. I am trying to, at least to some extent, always know where I'm at. Like if you were to stop me, okay, what are you playing? I should be able to immediately tell you what I'm playing. Oh, this is a D minor chord. And DFA is the first, third, and fifth, or first flatted third and fifth of that scale. So knowing that immediately. So how you do that is you do need to start slow. Initially, I would play without the metronome, especially when you're doing the scales, learning the scales. And I'd ask, look up major scales, look up minor pentatonic scales. I might do a video of that in the future, but starting with playing it and saying what the notes are. And now I'm generally doing this in my head when I'm playing, not necessarily with the scales anymore, but when I'm doing arpeggios for the seventh chords, I'm actually saying the notes in my head that I'm playing. And so again, you're engaging your mind, you're engaging your fingers, your dexterity while you're playing, and you're also just getting a better understanding where the notes are on the keyboard. And then by using the metronome, you're also engaging the ability to stay on rhythm. And so, so I do think it's a really good practice exercise or practice routine. I found my playing changed quite a bit from where I've been and how I'm understanding and approaching music. So, I'll give you an example. So if I'm going to play C major, and this is where I generally start. I generally start on the third fret of the A chord, or the fifth string, right? So that's C. One other note, I would start by tuning your guitar and always make sure you're in tune. So again, that you're engaging that hearing. This is what a major chord sounds like, or a major scale sounds like. This is what a minor scale sounds like. And getting yourself used to hearing that. But in order to do that, you need to be tuned properly. So I'm going to run the C, right? So I'm going to start fifth string, third fret. So that's what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to move. All I'm going to do is move up the neck on this and play it all the way up the fret. So every C that is on, other than, I will start here and I'll move again up the neck. So I'm not going to start with C that's on the second string, first fret. I don't start there ever, but if you go from here and you find the C's that are on the first top three strings, I'm going to hit each one of those while I'm playing. Then I will start, and I don't know why I do this, but I do start on the the fifth fret of the E string, so the top string, to start playing my A minor pentatonic. But then I will go up, and then I will skip back down to come to the eighth fret there and play the rest of the A minor pentatonic all the way up the neck. I'm then going to switch to, again, we're in the key of C, so all the roots are going to be are going to start with C. I am going to play seventh chords, so I'm going to do major seventh, dominant seventh, minor seventh, add 5, I think that is, and a diminished seventh. And then I'm going to go and find C on the fifth string and play all those chords. I'm going to find C on the fourth string, so that's my root on the fourth string. And I'm going to do that down all the strings for the seventh chords. Then I'm going to play, I'm going to find all those same C's, I'm sorry. I'm going to play the arpeggio of C major 7th, the C major 7th chord. I'm just gonna find those individual notes, and I'm gonna do that all the way up. And then, because we're in the key of C, I'm then going to do D minor 7th. That's the second D minor 7th, and I'm going to do that same thing. I'm going to find the D and I'm going to play the individual notes. And everything's a pattern here for the most part, so once you learn it, it should come pretty natural. I'm going to play that up, and then I'm going to play the 5th, right? Yeah, the 5th, and I'm the 5th chord of the C major scale, which is, or the key of C, which is G major 7th. And I think for the most reason why I learned it this way was just often in jazz, a 2-5-1 chord progression is used. So the second D minor 7th to the 5th G major 7th to the 1, often a dominant or a major 7th on C. So so I think that's why I learned it that way, but that's what I do. And then I go into triads, which I have to apologize to a teacher I had once a long time ago at the Milwaukee Conservatory of Music, which I basically bailed on in about a month, so I didn't really learn much, but he was a big time, really into jazz, and he was trying to get me to do this exercise. And I really, really wished I had done this. That would have been, I don't know, 96 maybe, 97. I really wish I'd started it back then, because that would be a long ways from where I am today, but that's okay. I am where I am, but I'm going to play the triads. This is going to require me to record something for me to walk through what this is, because it could be a little bit complicated. But for now, I'm going to play, and I'm just going to play with the metronome. And okay, so I often too, when I'm going from, if I go from the major scale, I'm often playing like major scale, maybe 250 beats per minute. I'll switch to the minor scale. I'm often playing like 270 beats per minute. I get to the the 7th chords. I'm either 90 or 100 beats per minute, but I'm often playing the chords on the 1 and the 3. So I'm doing 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm doing it that way. I'm doing about 140 beats per minute when I'm doing the arpeggios, and 90 to 100, about 100 beats per minute for the triads, but I've been struggling at that, and so 80 or 90 beats per minute is probably better. 80 is even be really good one to start at. It was for me, but I did know the exercise at that point. So again, go as slow as you have to stay on the beat, and then slowly increase as you're able to. But also, if you need to challenge yourself and you want to challenge yourself, you can kind of force yourself. But if you're really struggling to stay on the beat and do it correctly, then slow down. Go as slow as you have to. It doesn't really matter. You don't need to impress somebody at this point. So let's give this a go. I know this is already a long video, so I will give this a go. And if I'm playing off beat, I'm playing off beat. It's just how I'm doing it. It's just where I am today. So let's just give this a go. So you want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ah. Alright, so that was the major and the minor. I'm going to slow this down now to about 100. Yeah, 100 beats per minute. So now I'm going to play the major the seventh chords, right? I'm going to pause it for just a second. I do feel like I skipped something in that chord progression right there, but that's okay. So you'll notice I'm not always perfectly on time. If I need to let another beat or two go past, like if I'm going through the scale, if I need to, I will let that happen. I'm not going to panic about it. I'm just trying to stay on beat as best as I can. So now I did that. I'm going to move into the arpeggios. So I'm going to bump this up to about 140. That's a little fast probably for me to 100 stay on. I'll do it at 130. And this, I am naming the notes in my head while I'm doing this. So again, when I go to C, so C major seventh, I'm going to do C, E, G, B. And I'm going to keep going. C, E, G, B, C, E, G, B. So that, and then I'm going to switch to D minor. I'm going to do D, A, F, C, D, was it D? Oh yeah, D, F, A, C, D, F, A, C. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to switch to G. G, B, D, F sharp. G, B, D, F F sharp, and so I'm gonna do that, and you'll see me go through that. So let's play that. Oops. So you notice for the G, and for some reason I only do this with the G, I actually do the resolve back to the root note once I get to the 7th. I actually think I should probably do that for all the chords. I think it's nice to resolve back to that root. But okay, so now I'm going to switch the last part of the exercise. So again, if you're doing this, I'm already on the last step here. Right now, I've been doing a ton of talking. If you just do this and you play with the metronome and you do this consistently, I don't know how long it take. Maybe about 5-10 minutes at the most. And it's a great warm up, and it's a great way to engage your brain, engage your dexterity of your fingers, warm up your fingers, engage your ear so that your hearing and is attuning you to the notes that the different sounds. The major and minor and what key you're in and staying in the right key and so it's really nice. Cat's biting my foot here, but okay. Yeah, I do struggle sometimes with that one, and I probably need to slow it down. start that over. Okay, so you can see actually I was struggling a little bit there with playing the right notes, and definitely different when I'm playing for the video, but there are times I just realize, wow, I just need to slow down, reduce the tempo, and just do it right. And I'm definitely there. I should have done that. I'm sure you guys didn't want to see me do that, but and the other thing, one last thing I've started doing for me, because doing the metronome with and I don't know if you could actually hear the metronome once I start playing, but doing the metronome with the scales and chords and all that is great, but I then started noticing when I would try to play a rhythm, I wasn't always on time. So I